Hi guys, welcome again to my channel. This is Arius Souls and here's my inspiration for today. So stick around and let's do it together. I'm using a drafting paper to make this very easy. So I started by marking my start line and then I proceeded to mark the neck. So I measured 4 inches for the neck width and 7 inches for the neck depth. Please, you can use 3.5 for the neck width. I wanted mine to be wide and so I used 4. So if you're using 4, it's going to be wide. So you can use 3.5 by either 7 or 8 or however deep you want it to be. This is a V neckline, so I connected the two lines together, got the midpoint and measured 0.5 inch on that midpoint and then reconnected it. That's just to help the V neckline sit properly on the neck. I went ahead to mark how long I wanted the sleeve to be. That's from the center of the back to where I wanted it to be, and then on that point I came down by 1 inch and slanted my shoulder all the way in, just like so. Since this is a butterfly design, I went ahead to mark what I marked for the shoulder. I went ahead to mark it all the way down to the full length of this bubu, and I connected it with a straight line all the way down. And that's all for the drafting. I went ahead to cut that out, made sure that I gave the shoulder part half an inch seam allowance, which I'm going to use to join the front and the back together. So for this part, you need to pay a little bit more attention. So I wanted to cut out the size of this ashoke so that I would have that design just as the inspiration is. So right now I just placed the ashoke and measured what it was. I removed 1 inch, which is ½ inch seam allowance on both sides, both at the center and at the side, that I'll use to join it to the main fabric. So I reduced that by 1 inch and marked the figure that I got on the paper. That's what I'm going to be cutting. That's what I'm going to be measuring out on the paper. Minus what I got, what the actual measurement is, minus 1 inch. I ruled that all the way down after marking it. And just as this paper is like this pattern, I used it to cut out the full side of the butterfly bubu first, without touching it, without doing anything to it. I just went ahead to use it to cut out the full side of the plain fabric. Then after doing that, I proceeded to fold that 5.5 inch allowance that I ruled. That's what I'm going to use to cut the side that carries the ashoke. I hope you understand. If you follow through exactly as I'm showing, you will arrive at the same conclusion. I got 2 yards of chinos fabric and it was barely enough, even though I didn't want it to be too big. So I could not really add the ½ inch allowance, the seam allowance for the folded parts, but you're supposed to add that if your fabric is enough. So I did that, and here I am placing the ashoke just right under the full side because I want to cut out the shape of the neckline on the ashoke. Since the ashoke will serve as the center front and the center back for the other side, so I just went ahead to do this, set it properly, and then went ahead to cut out that neckline. Please bear in mind that this front piece, this front plain white fabric, already has the 0.5 inch allowance, join allowance at the center front. So the 0.5 I'll use to join to the ashoke on both sides, on both the front and the back rather, has already been added to it. So I just went out to cut out the neck and to get the length that I wanted. It was the exact same length with the white fabric. So here I picked one piece of the plain fabric of the plain white and one piece of the ashoke and pinned that all down at the center front, and also repeated the same thing to the back, also pinned it at the center back. After pinning that, I also took the other side that carries the ashoke, that's the shorter side of the plain white fabric, and also pinned it all the way down just like so. So this other side has like a dropping shoulder, and so the stitch is not going to start from the upper parts. So after I pinned it down, I just went ahead to measure like 8 inches and took note of that part and pinned it down from 8 inches. But I eventually realized that the 8 inches was too wide and it was showing my bust at the side, so I still reduced it to about 6 inches. So please just take note of that. Okay, so here I was done sewing it on the sewing machine, and this is what it looked like. So I just placed the front and the back on each other like so and connected it at the shoulder. So for the long part of the plain fabric, I connected the shoulder all the way down. For the ashoke part, I connected the ashoke separately and connected the remaining white parts, that's the shorter parts, separately as well, just like I'm showing. After I was done joining the shoulders, I just went ahead to also turn the dropping shoulder parts. Yes, and when I was done doing that as well, I went to sew all the sides. I just ran a straight stitch and went to bind all the rough edges, just turned it by 1 inch and sew it all the way around. I went ahead to cut out facing for both the front and the back of this butterfly bubu because I did not want it to have bias turning. So I joined the facing to the bubu right side facing right side. I first connected it at the shoulders and then I joined it to the outfit. When I was done doing that, I decided to hem it with needle and thread just to make sure that it lasts long and it doesn't come off, because sometimes hemming gum or hemming tape can come off once the outfit is washed. After connecting it to the main body, that's the facing, I went ahead to use pins to hold it down to make it easy for me to work with when hemming. So yes, and then I just went ahead to hem it to make it tight. Notice how I use the needle to pick a little of the fabric and then run it through the folded part of the facing. This is a very effective way to hem. That way there are no loose threads outside and the outfit looks neat put on the inside and the outside. The facing looks very neat and well put together. After I was done hemming, I went ahead to mark from the shoulder all the way to, depends on what you are comfortable with, depends on how wide you want the sleeve to be. So I marked about 13 inches, and I didn't want to use a chalk on this because it's a white fabric and I wanted to wear it on the day I was making it, so I was just using my hand as a guide. So for the sides, I measured my hip measurement plus 1.5 inch so that it will fit the bust, the waist and the hip. For the side slits, the side opening, I came up 17 inches from the hem of the butterfly bubu and also marked the hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5. And when I was done doing that, I marked it on the other side as well and just pinned everything. Then went ahead to run a straight stitch all across the pins that I have there. When I was done, I just went ahead to iron it, and this is what I had when I was completely done. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. Please, if you did, don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Thank you. Bye.